Everyone in the restaurant would later swear the moment felt ordinary, just another elegant night of soft music and clinking glasses, but if you watch closely, you'll see it was the exact second two broken lives quietly began to heal each other. The billionaire woman adjusted the cuff of her tailored jacket, her young son swinging his legs beneath the table, when her eyes landed on a man across the room counting coins in his palm like they were fragile secrets. What she did next would shock everyone there, and change far more than just one dinner. She had built an empire before 40, signed deals that moved markets, and learned to hide exhaustion behind calm smiles. Tonight was supposed to be simple, dinner with her son after another endless day of decisions that affected thousands of employees she barely knew. The restaurant was expensive but quiet, the kind of place where conversations stayed low and waiters moved like shadows. Her son, still small enough to believe his mother could fix anything, talked excitedly about school and dinosaurs while she nodded, half listening, half watching the room out of habit. That was when she noticed the man at the corner table. His jacket was worn, sleeves frayed at the edges, and his posture carried the careful tension of someone used to disappointment. Across from him sat a little girl, no older than her own son, clutching a menu she clearly couldn't read. The man smiled at her with a softness that didn't match the strain in his eyes. When the waiter came, the man hesitated, whispered something, and the waiter nodded politely but with the practiced look of someone who already knew the ending. The billionaire's son followed her gaze. "Mom," he said quietly, "why does that man look sad?" She didn't answer right away. She watched as the man pulled out a small handful of coins and a few folded bills, arranging them on the table, counting once, then again. He laughed gently at something his daughter said, even as his shoulders slumped just a little. It wasn't the laugh of someone embarrassed, it was the laugh of someone trying to protect a child from a truth that felt too heavy for her small hands. The billionaire felt something tighten in her chest, a memory she didn't like visiting. Years ago, before the wealth, before the headlines, she had been a single mother too. She remembered sitting at kitchen tables doing math that never quite worked, smiling at her child while fear screamed in her head. Money had changed her life, but it hadn't erased the memory of what it felt like to have nothing but love and stubborn hope. When the waiter returned to the man's table with water instead of the meal the little girl had pointed to, the billionaire's son frowned. "They didn't get food," he whispered, confused. "Did they do something wrong?" "No," she said softly. "Sometimes life is just unfair." The man thanked the waiter anyway, his voice low but polite, and told his daughter they'd eat at home. The girl nodded, trying to be brave, but her eyes lingered on the plates passing by. That was the moment the billionaire stood up. Not with drama, not with a speech. Just a quiet decision, the kind that comes from deep places. She walked over before doubt could stop her. The man looked up, startled, instinctively protective as he pulled his daughter a little closer. She smiled, not the smile she used in boardrooms, but a real one. "I hope you don't mind," she said gently. "But I couldn't help noticing it's a special night. Please let me take care of dinner." The man shook his head immediately. "That's very kind, but I can't." "Please," she interrupted, not forceful, just sincere. From one parent to another. Her son had followed, standing beside her, eyes wide. "You can sit near us," he added, as if this were the most obvious solution in the world. The man hesitated, pride and gratitude fighting inside him. Finally, he nodded, eyes shining in a way that embarrassed him. "Thank you," he said quietly. "I'm Ethan. This is Lily." Introductions were made, chairs were moved, and soon the children were talking like old friends. For a while, the adults watched them, the sound of their laughter filling spaces that had felt empty moments before. Over food that now tasted better than any luxury meal ever had, Ethan spoke about his life. He worked 2 jobs, took night shifts whenever he could, and still worried it wasn't enough. Lily's mother had passed away, and every day felt like a balancing act between grief, love, and survival. The billionaire listened without judgment. She shared less about herself, but enough to let him know she understood more than her polished appearance suggested. When the bill came, she waved it away as easily as signing a check, but the act felt heavier, more meaningful, than any business transaction. As the night ended and they stood to leave, Ethan thanked her again, voice thick with emotion. "You didn't just buy dinner," he said. "You gave my daughter a memory." She looked at Lily hugging her son goodbye and felt her eyes sting. "You gave her that," she replied. "I just helped a little." Just when Ethan thought the miracle of the night was over, she handed him a simple card. No logo, no title. Just a name and number. "Call me," she said. "Not for charity. I think you might be someone I want to work with." Weeks later, that card would change everything. But at that moment, all Ethan felt was confusion and hope tangled together. When he finally did call, he learned the unbelievable truth. She wasn't just offering help, she was offering opportunity. She had listened carefully that night, noticed his skills, his discipline, his integrity. She offered him training, a stable position in one of her companies, and flexibility no single parent ever dreamed of. Not because she felt sorry for him, but because she believed in him. The transition wasn't easy. Ethan struggled with self-doubt, with stepping into a world that once felt closed to people like him. There were nights he almost quit, convinced he didn't belong. But every time he wavered, he remembered Lily's smile at that dinner, the way kindness had opened a door he didn't know existed. The billionaire watched from a distance, proud but careful not to hover. She saw him grow, learn, lead. She saw her own son learn something just as valuable, that success meant nothing if you forgot the people still counting coins at tables across the room. Months later, they met again at the same restaurant. This time, Ethan paid. Not because he had to prove anything, but because it mattered to him. The children laughed louder, the food tasted richer, and the air felt lighter. As they stood to leave, the billionaire realized the unbelievable thing hadn't been the dinner, or the job, or even the money. It was the simple choice to see someone, truly see them, and act with courage and compassion. And in that quiet act, she hadn't just changed a single dad's life, she had reminded herself, and her son, of who they wanted to be in a world that so often forgot. Long after the plates were cleared and the lights dimmed, that lesson remained: sometimes the greatest power isn't wealth or status, but the willingness to stop, notice, and choose kindness when no one expects it.